Hello there and welcome to this latest Expert Insights Tech Talk brought to you by Parker. Now this is the Bauma special. My name is Mark Jeffries and I'm delighted to once again return as your host and your moderator. We have lots of great topics to discuss today, but before we begin, I'd like to invite our two guest experts, Paul Horvat and Shawn Horner, to tell us a little bit about themselves and their roles. Paul, I'll start with you.
Hello, everyone. My name's Paul Horvat. I'm the VP of Business Development for Parker's Motion Systems Group. And what excites me most about my role at Parker is I get to be involved with aligning our technology roadmap with our customers' future needs. And, it's really a great opportunity to learn and to be involved in the innovation process with customers. And over the last 30 years being involved in motion control, I've seen a lot of technology shifts and changes. And what's happening in the off-road machinery space with electrification is really impressive with all of the challenges and the scope of machines that are impacted. So we're really excited to showcase some of our new solutions at the Bauma show.
Great, thank you. Shawn.
Yeah, nice to meet you, Mark. So my name is Shawn Horner. I'm the Vice President of the Motion Technology Center. And our team is really completely dedicated to the smart electrification journey that Parker is on. And, I'm excited and fortunate to be able to lead that team, a group of experts that bring diverse technology expertise, completely focused on this journey to help our customers to be that trusted advisor to them as they go about the journey of creating a better tomorrow.
Outstanding. All right, well, let's get into it then. We'll start with Bauma 2022. Why is it, do you think, so important to the mining and the construction industry? And what special moments does Parker have planned for this year's event? Paul?
Well, I think as a lot of the listeners know, this is the place where the entire industry goes and converges in one place and showcases a lot of really cool machines and technologies and brings together all of the global experts. And because it only happens once every 3 years, there's a lot of really exciting stuff happening. And the industry is really going to be talking a lot about key trends, related to sustainability, related to productivity. As far as what Parker is planning for this event, we're really excited. A lot happens in 3 years, as we all know, just from reading the newspaper. If you look at what we have planned, it's organized around 4 technology expert areas. So we're going to have, first of all, experts staffing the booth. So, our customers can talk to people that really have a lot of deep domain knowledge on specific products, but also a lot of systems experts as well. We're also going to have within our booth, we're going to have a theater program where it'll be more educational based, where we'll have some seminars on various topics related to our 4 themes. And those themes really relate to, the first 2 really being very sustainability related. So number 1, cleaner fuels. So, how does Parker enable cleaner burning fuels? In some cases as a bridge technology on its way to electrification. In other cases, that's the most practical solution for some of the large heavy machines. The second expert area that we're going to be focused on is electrification itself. That's actually not just reducing emissions, but it's eliminating the combustion engine altogether. And we have a lot of really fantastic technology. Since the last Bauma show especially, we're going to be highlighting a lot of our high efficiency electric motors, new generation of motor controllers. We have a whole series of what we call configured e-pumps that brings together our hydraulic technology and our electric technology. And we're also going to be talking a lot about control. So the third area is really about digitalization. That's the word that's being used, but it's really about control solutions and how we can provide software tools and control schemes that will help customers bring their systems all together. And then the fourth area that we're going to be focused on in our booth and technology experts is how Parker has proven technology in the area of operating in harsh conditions. So, the construction and mining industries operate in some of the toughest environments, and we know what it takes to make things last and be reliable, which is, really directly related to productivity.
I love the fact that your booth and your presence at Bauma reflects that everyone's at a different point on this transition journey. So lots for them to see. Shawn, would you like to add anything?
I was just going to comment on that, Mark. I think I know we'll see at Bauma that our customers are at different phases of this journey. Some just beginning, some quite advanced. And, we've really aligned our technologies and the work that we're doing to be able to meet them at whatever point they are on their journey.
So let's just dig a little bit deeper into that, because Bauma, as I understand it, is predominantly focused on heavy construction and mining technologies. So maybe explain a bit more. What do you see as the three phases, and how do they influence the development of cleaner, more efficient platforms when it comes to these heavier mobile applications?
Sure. I think, what you see is different, machine builders, will describe their journey slightly differently, but we, having an opportunity to see across a lot of different platforms, sort of put them into these three discrete buckets. The first is, eliminating or downsizing the internal combustion engine, right? That's going to give them the biggest benefit in terms of carbon reduction, the biggest benefit, in terms of taking and, really meeting the regulatory constraints that they're under. In a lot of cases, they'll have to move into the second phase of the journey, which is how do they optimize the balance of the machine? If you look back historically, over 20 years for, say, particularly in the construction industry, the mining industry has been a bit more technology leading because of the opportunity to do so inside the mine, the constraints, it provides a kind of an operating environment that allows for technology. But, if you look at sort of the broader space, you'll see that in a lot of ways, this equipment hasn't changed a lot in 2 decades. And power has never really been an issue. There's plenty of power inside of a diesel engine. So as you put a battery on or you go hybrid, you have to start to consider the overall efficiency of the equipment to get the uptime that they need for their operators to be able to do the job, to be able to work on a work site for 8 hours a day. So that's sort of the second phase of the journey, is how do you get better efficiency and optimize subcomponents on that machine. The third is what we would describe as the clean sheet design approach. And really, when will that occur? It's really based on the convergence of a number of different technologies. The maturity of the efficiency of batteries, the maturity of advanced AI computing and autonomy, the maturity of things like generative design and advanced materials that will allow OEMs to think very differently about the architecture of their equipment. And so, our job as a partner to them is to, again, develop the technologies at the right time to meet them at the place that they are on their journey.
Paul, Shawn talks about developing these technologies at the right time. There is a feeling, isn't there, in the industry that the pace is quickening now. We've been talking about this for a while, but it's happening. I would love to know what your customers say to you about this feeling that the pace is getting faster and faster.
Yeah, it's there's definitely a pull in the marketplace, just from society in general to decarbonize. There's a lot of incentives, from the government side to make this happen. But yeah, the pace is accelerating. And what's encouraging is, there's some big challenges that the industry is working through. And I think the industry as a whole is rising to the occasion and figuring out ways to solve applications. And it's not a one size fits all, like Shawn said. They're depending upon the weight class of the machine, and frankly some practical aspects of the number of units produced. If there's only a very small number of big heavy machines produced, maybe it makes more sense to focus on cleaner burning fuels. And so, while it's not, a one-size-fits-all, we would like customers listening out there to come visit us, because we think it can be a one-stop shop. So if you stop at the Parker booth, you'll see what kind of solutions we have in terms of cleaner fuels. And there's a lot of issues related to how you manage gases and liquids under extreme conditions. Parker's great at that. But we have a ton of technology that is really related specifically around electrification and digitization that really are at the forefront of those changes that you're talking about that are accelerating.
Yeah, I would just add, to steal the phrase from Malcolm Gladwell, we see it as a tipping point. So this isn't new. I think, and for our customers and our partners, I think we've all been working in various ways around electrification for a number of years. I mean, I can tell you in Parker, we started working with customers on electrified mobile equipment over 10 years ago. We've been working on more electric aircraft in the aerospace, industry for even longer than that. But what is changing is the pace, to your point, and therefore, I think this notion of not being able to do it alone, needing to find strong partnerships, is going to be critical for success.
Fabulous. Thank you for that. And Paul, you touched on this, but there are other key technologies at Bauma, alternative fuels. I mean, we're talking hydrogen. Obviously, we're also talking about digitalization, a phrase you mentioned earlier. Automation is always key. How does all of that fit in with the main key Parker philosophy of engineering a greener future for the construction and mining industry through what, in essence, is smarter electrification?
Yeah, it really does come back to there's not one single approach that's going to work for everything. And so, if you can work with a supplier that can bring to bear a wide range of technologies, whether it's, knowing how to keep things cool, or knowing how to, with thermal management, or whether it's, being able to handle, fluids under extreme conditions, or whether it's about combining different motion technologies together. There's a lot of different aspects that are involved to make a greener future, not just one. As problems get solved in the industry, it creates a little bit of a snowballing effect where the success that happened in one area sometimes can be ported over to other areas. So it's not always about starting, at ground zero or starting from scratch. We get visibility to a lot of these different machine platforms. There's a lot of learning that we have at the system level on how our products behave from a motion control standpoint, or even, some of our other technologies. It's a learning process and continues to get, better and better. And that does contribute to the speed that you were talking about, because we're not always starting from scratch.
No, I like that idea. You're not having to reinvent the wheel. There's a blueprint of sorts being created at every step. And smart electrification, of course, is going to play a big part in reducing carbon emissions across the industry. So I'd love to get your thoughts on how increasing digitalization and the introduction of IoT 4.0, how that's going to accelerate this transformation and help your customers hit those emissions targets, but at the same time remain productive.
Yeah, Mark, I think if I would take that, I would say that, you hit the last word is the most important word there, which is productive. Obviously, we're all, making this shift to a greener, cleaner world. And at the same time, we can't allow productivity to fall off. We see that the challenges we face today in the supply chain, issues in the world, trying to keep up with capacity and demand, our customers need the equipment and their customers need the equipment to be every bit as productive as it is today. So it needs to be an and, not an or. It must be cleaner and as or better productivity, which really brings it back to the key enabler for that is this efficiency topic that we've been discussing. So the more efficient you can make the machines, the more you can use data and leverage that data to make sure you have uptime of the machines, to minimize downtime through scheduled maintenance, to have better asset utilization, at the work site. All of these things contribute to efficiency beyond just the machine level. And that's really what our customers are looking for. Our job there is really to make sure that our components can help enable that for them. We ultimately won't be, the overarching digital platform provider, but what we will be is contributing to their insights through the insights and data that we can provide from our smart components.
Outstanding. And that's the support they need, 100%. I'm fascinated by hydrogen. There's a lot of discussion on hydrogen right now and, of course, other alternative fuels. And I'm no expert, but I believe hydrogen sometimes can be a byproduct of the decarbonization process. So I guess my question is, in terms of the alternative fuels and hydrogen, is there a benefit for that from advances in digitalization and the advances that IoT 4.0 brings? And can hydrogen and fueled options be automated to the same extent as battery-powered solutions?
Well, there's two big themes or trends that are closely related to each other and overlap each other quite a bit, but they are different. So, one is electrification, which has to do with the power source of the machine changing. And the other one is digitalization, which is really about the control strategy. And that control strategy is about, machines becoming smarter. There's more inputs, there's more outputs, there's more sensors, there's things need to be connected together over a network. So being able to kind of glue this together at that system level with software and controls is really important, and it's closely related to enabling electrification. But even if it's not an electrified system, you can still get a lot of those same benefits. Now, the data that you might be focused on your control system, maybe it's more specific to fluids, but it is a topic that stands alone, whether it's an electrified system or cleaner burning fuel. You still need to have good control systems that tie it all together and make it easy for customers.
That's interesting, 'cause I imagine some customers may be surprised in how much control there can be on those alternative fuel sources. Thank you for that. There is also a lot of talk about power to weight performance, and I know it's a phrase that crops up a lot in this environment. What other areas would you consider to be as important for anyone looking to reduce their emissions, but most importantly, without impacting that productivity? Is it even possible?
Yeah, so to me, power to weight, so power density is a second order of the first desire, which is to get efficiency, right? So one way to get efficiency is more power at lighter weight. Okay, and obviously that's an important technology trend. The light weighting. We certainly at Parker, if folks come to see us, can see the various ways we can help them with light weighting vehicles, whether it's through structural adhesives that enable them to take fasteners out of their equipment, whether it's through some advanced work we can help them think around generative design principles that can take very novel concepts to machine design. But it is just one variable, power to weight, as we talked about. Thermal management's another very important aspect of really getting machine efficiency. The cooler you can keep these systems, the more efficient they run. So that's one I'd point out that, again, we've got a strong technology pedigree in. Another is just how these systems are designed to work together. So again, another advantage of working with a company like Parker is that we are able to design our components to really work optimally with each other. And through that system level approach, we can really get the efficiency that is required to get the productivity.
Yeah, I was just going to add one comment to the whole power to weight issue. And if you think of an analogy of like a sports analogy, and you think of an electrified application like a passenger car, it's more like like a track and field event, like running or cross country skiing, where the duty cycle is maybe there's some hills here and there in a cross country event. But when you're talking about off-road construction, mining equipment, the athlete to picture is more like an Olympic weightlifter. And, because there's a lot of power that needs to be demanded in very short bursts of time. So that power to weight ratio and machine dynamics for off-road and mining equipment looks very, very different because of the different duty cycles and abuse that those types of machines have to take compared to some of the other industries.
All right, it's a conversation worth having for sure, and you'd be able to have it at that booth of yours, of course. Here's another question for you. If I was an OEM or a designer creating electrified, digitalized solutions, how far does it actually make sense that I use components from a single source where it's actually possible?
So if I could take that first, perhaps, to me, it really comes down to the question of how you manage risk. There's a lot of different things changing here, as we've talked about. Technology's moving quickly. New things come up every week, every month, every year. We're all trying to take advantage of them and embody them into our products as quickly as we can. From our customers' perspective, that there's a lot of they have a lot of challenges of what do you change when, and how much ultimately obviously they need to maintain their reliability and that productivity of the equipment. So to me, when you work with a partner that has the breadth of technologies that we have, that has the experience of over 100 years in the industry, that has seen these similar themes play out in other industrial spaces, be it again our aerospace world or perhaps the on-road vehicle world, then to me that all leads to risk reduction for our customers.
Nice, thank you. Paul?
Yeah, when I think about what the customers care about and what the machine builders are after, it's about performance of the whole system. So when you talk about components versus systems, there's always a benefit when those individual components are integrated together in a way that brings extra value. So we're introducing this concept of smart electrification, and smart electrification really boils down to three key words. The first is integrated. So how are we integrating our different technologies together? And that could be at the broad scale, like combining hydraulics and electric technology to electrify it in a certain way. It could be integrating mechanically to make sure that things are going to provide long, reliable life in these tough conditions. It can be related to integrating electrically. It could be related to how things connect together with software and controls. So integrated is the first word that would fall under smart electrification. The second is connected. And how do we make sure that these components are working together and communicating with each other in such a way that it's over a network and seamless? So kind of a plug and play approach to how things connect. So we talked about integrated, we talked about connected, but the third one is probably the most fundamental, but it's just super important, and that is efficiency. So, efficiency is first and foremost when it comes to any electrified application, because the energy source, if we're talking about batteries, batteries just don't hold as much energy compared to a fuel tank of a comparable size on a vehicle. So that means that you have to be very efficient in how you use that energy. And remember, we're talking about a power lifter making power lifts and cleans and jerks, so you can use up the energy pretty quick when you're consuming a lot of power in those types of applications. So when we talk about smart electrification, it's really about making sure that the technologies are well integrated together mechanically, electrically, and with controls, connecting in a plug and play way, and making sure that we have really great efficiency, which a lot of the efficiency comes from matching things together and making sure that all of the know-how that we have on how to test things in real world environments, that is informing how these systems are combined together to bring maximum efficiency.
Great, thank you. And I love that analogy. You've got to be smart about how you use your power. All right, we're almost out of time. So final two questions then. I'll come to Shawn first and then Paul back to you. So at Bauma this year, I'm guessing every person and his or her team will be promoting their ability to help the industry become more sustainable, productive, profitable. So I guess the question is, what do you think it takes to stand out from that crowd?
Well, it's a great question, and it's a tough crowd. It's as we like to say, our competitors are all A students, and so we need to be A students as well. And so I come back to that. No one's going to do this alone. The journey requires strong partnerships. It requires that we learn from each other. It requires that we all contribute to this better tomorrow. So I think how Parker stands out are some of the things I said before. I believe, you'll find that, we bring a breadth of experience, but also depth. And that combination of breadth and depth that can lead to us being a trusted advisor to our customers to help them get that efficiency, that productivity, all while managing the risk of this change is what we believe sets us apart from a very heady crowd.
Thank you, Shawn. And Paul, lastly for you, there are some key words here: cleaner, lighter, safer, quieter. These descriptions could be described, I guess, as the bywords of smart electrification. What else would you add to this technical tour de force for anyone watching who's still not sure that electrification is the way forward in construction and mining?
Yeah, I think the thing to remember is you don't have to start from scratch. A lot of the big challenges, and there's still a lot of challenges that the industry is working through, but a lot of the challenges have been solved. So you don't have to start from scratch. And so smart electrification, I would come back to the basics. It's, do you have a partner that you're working with that has integrated technologies in a way that saves you time and saves you cost and gives you confidence because you know that it's been pre-engineered, pre-tested, right? But it's not just about the products either. It's also about people, and people that understand how these systems work together, that can borrow from experience in adjacent applications, and bring new ideas and new thinking to the process. So I would say to the skeptic out there that a lot of these problems, progress is being made right now, and there's a lot of companies like Parker that can bring a lot of value to the problem-solving process.
Outstanding. Paul Horvat, Shawn Horner, thank you both for an intriguing and informative discussion. I'm sure our viewers will have found the topics absolutely fascinating and thought-provoking. To find out more about smart electrification in construction and mining and how you can pull the plug on carbon, be sure to visit Parker's booth at Bauma starting October the 24th. Until next time, thank you and goodbye.